Could the Marvel Universe survive a Kryptonian invasion? Okay, so this was a video that I've been trying to make for a very long time, so let's address this. Could the Marvel Universe, specifically planet Earth, withstand a Kryptonian invasion? Short answer, it would be very unlikely, but let me explain. So the best way to visualize a hypothetical scenario on how Marvel will do against a Kryptonian invasion is to see how the DC Universe did in the multiple Kryptonian invasions that they have had. The Kryptonian invasions in DC were the original Invincible and Viltrumite War. So in the pre-crisis storyline called the Phantom Zone, 8 Kryptonians escaped from the Phantom Zone and were causing chaos on Earth. They were such a big threat that they were beating up and defeating Justice League members like Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Supergirl. Now if we jump all the way to the 2000s, in Superman the Last Son of Krypton storyline, General Zod with a couple dozen Kryptonians were able to beat the Justice League once again and conquer Metropolis, and the only way that Zod and his crew were defeated was thanks to Lex Luthor and a bunch of other Superman villains who collaborated to stop the invasion. And remind you that these Superman villains were purposely designed to combat Kryptonians like Superman to exploit their weaknesses. In a Kryptonian invasion of Marvel characters wouldn't have ways to exploit the weaknesses of Kryptonians, at least not at the start. If characters like Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, and the rest of the Illuminati managed to survive long enough in a Kryptonian invasion, they could probably discover something about their kryptonite poisoning in red sun biology. But even then, I still think it would be too little too late, but let's keep going to see why. And just to highlight, the Kryptonians who beat the Justice League, in the 2 instances that I have shown, were just average Kryptonians. And if average Kryptonians have been already consistently proving to be trouble to the Justice League, we could assume that it would be the same for the Avengers, the X-Men, and every other big powerful Marvel team. And just to preview, these weren't the only instances the JLA had trouble with Kryptonians, and did I mention that it was only 27 Kryptonians who fought and beat the League? But let's keep going to show just how crazy strong Kryptonians really are. If we jump to the Superman New Krypton storyline, where an entire city of Kryptonians settled on Earth, in this storyline we see a fight take place between 5 Kryptonians and Doomsday, and these 5 Kryptonians were able to kill Doomsday. Reminder that Doomsday is the character who is the most equal to Superman in terms of power in all DC, and at this point I do not think it's necessary to power scale Superman or Doomsday because it's obvious. And this is consistent, because later on we see 5 other Kryptonians being able to hold and beat up Superman in the storyline The War of the Supermen. Now with this being said, I think we can all agree that there are very few characters in Marvel who are comparable to Superman and Doomsday when it comes to power. Because even if the average Kryptonian is not on Superman level, a couple of them have shown to definitely be. And a squadron of them will be able to overpower even the mightiest of characters in Marvel. But let's keep going. If we jump to a couple of issues back, we see that the Kryptonians were once again causing trouble to the Justice League members and overwhelming them. The Justice League was only able to defeat them by summoning the help of the magical heroes, which only forced the Kryptonians to a standstill. And then again in the War of the Supermen, a single Kryptonian beat the entire Teen Titans along multiple other League members. So in a Kryptonian invasion of Marvel, the magical characters might be the ones who have a higher chance of surviving and killing a lot of the Kryptonians. But even then, I still think they will get overwhelmed by an entire horde of them attacking from all sides. Now let's talk about how smart Kryptonians are. Kryptonians are also overwhelmingly smarter than humans, having an 8th level intellect on average, while humans in comparison only have a 3rd level intellect in DC. For comparison, Brainiac has a 9th level intellect. So you have a super strong and smart race with technology and weapons that Earth can't even conceive of. This will definitely be a net negative for Marvel's planet Earth. And remind you once again, these are for the average Kryptonians. I haven't even mentioned the Super Family, Zod Family, the House of El, the Gods of Krypton, and all the other Superman variants across the multiverse. That is if all the known Superman variants join in, as the original picture showed. But before I address all of this, did you know that sun radiation can manifest different set of abilities to the Kryptonians? For a lot of Kryptonians, besides getting the standard Superman powers, they can get other abilities such as telekinesis, cryokinesis, telepathy, etc. So a lot of Kryptonians would be fully packed when it comes to fighting them. For example, Superboy has telekinesis, Supergirl can create fire wings that boost her powers, especially her speed, The Super Twins are basically Kryptonian Green Lanterns with their ability of forming constructs and shooting lasers from their hands. But when it comes to the most overpowered Kryptonian in universe, it has to be Hell, who is a clone of multiple Kryptonians, making him an entire database. Hell is the same character that the Super Family, the Justice League, and the Teen Titans had to jump in order to beat. His abilities range from teleportation, energy constructs, and time manipulation. And side note, here is Supergirl and Superboy fighting arguably the three most powerful League members when they were teenagers. Kryptonians are just broken as a race. And this is not even touching all the abilities Kryptonians can have, since their native martial art called Quadism Rao has the power of making them access the astral plane and get psychic powers. Which all the Kryptonians are not good with psychic and telepathic attacks. For the ones who know this martial art, it will provide some defenses in this area. Now if we include all of Superman descendants from the future, it would be devastating for Marvel. Cause Superman descendants are pretty much mixed with a lot of the most powerful races in DC, like the Tonagarians, the Tamaranians, the Lanterns, and even some are mixed with gods. And to make this more fun, we could also include Kryptonians from alternate Earths like Superboy Prime, Cosmic Armor Superman, and Milkman, but that would be overkill since these are characters who transcend the concept of power. Now let's talk about the Kryptonian gods. We have Vok, who is the god of creation, Flamebird, the god of destruction and is pretty much DC version of the Phoenix Force, Nightwing, which is pretty much Cloak on crack, Sithona, the god of ice and cold, who is equal in strength to Superman but has a plethora of other abilities, Eder, the dragon god of the Phantom Zone, who sees and experiences it all, Kvorg, basically Krypton's devil, and Rao, the supreme god of Krypton. If the Kryptonian gods are also part of the invasion, Marvel's Earth stands absolutely no chance. Fun fact, Superman is a lot stronger than a lot of Kryptonian gods, at least according to Supergirl in the pre-Crisis era, which is why I even bring up the Kryptonian gods. So no matter the angle we take, Marvel is cooked if Kryptonians invade them. And I forgot to mention this, but how do you think DC was able to survive a Kryptonian invasion when it happened to them? It was thanks to the combined efforts of the US government, Lex Luthor, and Brainiac collaboration, which is something that Marvel doesn't have. But if you still disagree with my take here, feel free to let me know in the comments why. So until next time.